Hi, my name's Alex Garland, and this is my career in 4 minutes. I was just struggling trying to figure out how to write a book. I was picking books off the shelves going, oh right, that's how you do dialogue, and then what I knew immediately, and I could tell, I visited the set at one point, and so I knew this before I ever saw it cut together as a film, is that the film and the book were just separate entities, and I didn't really have any personal investment or relationship with the film. I pitched an idea which was about running zombies in London. That was it. In fact, that was the pitch. That it was running zombies in London. There wasn't a story beyond it. And I then went off and wrote that as a spec script, and I knew nothing about script writing at that point. So Andrew and I then worked on that for, I think, at least five drafts. And he sent it to Danny, who of course he had a very long working relationship with. And to my surprise, Danny said, yeah, I'd like to direct it. So in Sunshine, I sat down, wrote it. At that point, Andrew and Danny, I showed it to them together because we'd just made a film together, so we knew each other very well, and had sort of developed, I guess, a working relationship, and just showed them the script and said, how about it? And they said, yeah. What I know is that when it came out, nobody went to see it. I remember that. It was, you know, it's kind of a weird film. I can see that in retrospect. At the time, it all seemed perfectly reasonable, but looking back on it, I can see it's quite odd. The thing about Never Let Me Go was that I don't know very many writers, but I knew Ishiguro already because I'd come from books to films. That's where I'd started out, and I called him up and I said, I want to adapt this into a film. Will you let me do it? And I felt I had a duty of care in some respects, partly because he was a friend and also because I really loved the novel in a particular kind of way. And so I approached it as a faithful adaptation, and the most dominant voice on that film was always the book. I was a big 2000 AD fan. I'd grown up reading 2000 AD, and Dredd was my favourite character in the comic. Andrew and Alon had realised that the rights to Dredd were becoming available, and partly because of the stigma attached to the first film, they were going to be affordable. And Andrew, I think we were making Sunshine. We weren't making Sunshine at the time, and Andrew said, do you want to do this? And so it was different from some of the other projects because it wasn't a spec script where I was coming to them. This was Andrew saying, do you want to do it? And but I immediately said yes. I was super familiar with Dredd and wanted to do it. Yeah. It really begins a long time ago when I was a kid, and I had a ZX Spectrum computer, and I would program in BASIC very, very simple Q&A routines that gave a sort of very glancing impression of something like an AI. And also me being super aware that actually this is really if Y go to line 10 is like a long way away from anything sentient, and feeling kind of puzzled by that. And I never really lost the sort of slightly magical sense that a computer had come alive, but also the total awareness that it hadn't. And that over years that's translated eventually into a story.